I bought a lot of this stock today, perhaps an irresponsible amount, but I do think it'll pay off.
ときめきの予感かけてくるあなた自分でもわかる胸の高鳴り深呼吸一つ本気を出して確かな声で Love me please.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another penny stock video. Today we have a really exciting merger and acquisition stock in the OTC, and that's WDRP. I bought a lot of this stock today, perhaps an irresponsible amount, but I do think it'll pay off. I really love the setup. I love the story that's developing here. Let's take a deeper look into what's happening with WDRP and why it's up 270% today, and why I think it can go up quite a bit more. So, without further ado, of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not even licensed to drive a forklift, much less give financial advice. So if you're listening to me, just know that I'm an idiot and I just like trading penny stocks. So moving forward with that, there's my disclaimer for the day. Let's take a look at our share structure, as we always do. So with WDRP, you can see it has a tiny market cap, $650,000 market cap. Authorized shares of 1.2 billion, which is a pretty solid, pretty low amount of authorized shares. And we don't really have any dilution fears here anyway, which I'll get into in a moment. So there's 650 million outstanding shares. 112 million of that is restricted. Unrestricted is 538 million. And the held at DTC, which is our tradable float, the shares that are tradable in the open market, is 461 million. So we have a 461 million share float. That's an excellent share structure. If you know, I've talked about in my videos, anything 500 million or less in these low double zero prices is really good. It means they trade thin. It doesn't take a ton of volume for them to move up and make really nice moves. They're just easier to get runs when the share structure is really nice like this. You face a lot less of resistance. So moving forward, we have an excellent share structure here, but there's another thing that I love about this share structure, and that's that it's actually gone down over the course of 6 years. The outstanding share count has gone down, whereas if you look at pretty much any other OTC company in existence, and look at the outstanding share count from 6 years ago, almost all of them will have gone up, unless they did a reverse split. And why is that? Well, it's because most OTC companies don't really care about their share structure. They're just here to dilute and sell shares to the public so they can fund, operations, or in many cases, their yacht or mansion. So what's amazing is that WDRP not only hasn't diluted for all of this time, but they've actually reduced the share structure. So here's a tweet that I posted that shows 3 screenshots of the share structure from different years. And you see I say WDRP, not only has there been no dilution, the outstanding share count has gone down since 6 years ago and even reduced again since 2 years ago. You really never see this kind of stuff, true gem. And that's true. I mean, this is probably the only stock in the entire OTC that I know of that's been an active company that hasn't diluted in 6 years or more. So take a look here. This is from 2018. Their outstanding shares was 750 million. And from 2022, their outstanding shares was 690 million. And from 2024, with today, right, from this week, 650 million. So you can see the share structure has continued to be reduced over time. There's been no dilution whatsoever. It's really a miracle. You almost never see that in the OTC, period. Okay, so that alone is a major selling point of this ticker, major selling point for traders and investors alike. So now let's dive into the story of WDRP, what's been happening in recent events, and you can see it all right here on their Twitter page. And we're slowly building up to really exciting things happening with this company. So we're back here in January. They did their first really good oil and gas acquisition, and then they added this energy sector veteran, Mr. Paul Heikala. I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but they added him as the Chief Operating Officer, the COO of WDRP. Okay, so they brought in an industry veteran from the energy sector to help with the oil and gas acquisition as well as future acquisitions. And then in February, they talk about search for acquisition candidates are going well. They've identified a few, blah, blah, blah. March 20th, to address some of the recent inquiries, we have been conducting due diligence and negotiations with several potential acquisition targets. So things are starting to sound more promising as the weeks pass. And then finally, April 8th, it is encouraging to see more quality target candidates being presented for acquisition. So now it sounds like, okay, the company's starting to get excited themselves about what's coming in here. And then on April 10th, they dropped the bomb, which is evaluating the possibilities of integrating some aspects of an energy company in Vietnam whose projected revenues exceed $100 million. Initial efforts are focused on a joint venture and capital raising. All right, so that is massive. Now we have what sounds like some sort of joint venture, possibly an acquisition of a piece of this major energy company in Vietnam, on top of other acquisition targets that the company is evaluating as well, plus the oil and gas. So now we're really getting somewhere. Then they talk about on April 11th, we are raising capital, but they're not looking to dilute our shares in doing so. So what they're looking at is private capital raise. So they say, just to clarify, in order to raise the capital we need for our initiatives through equity, significant dilution will be required, which is not the approach we're taking. So they're not trying to dilute with this financing. So then they say, just conclude a productive meeting with a financier and our potential venture partner overseas. A meeting with another financier is scheduled for Monday. Things are looking promising. More updates forthcoming. Meeting with the financier went well, and the approach aligns with our long-term growth plan. We're very excited about the potential. So that was April 15th. So now it sounds like they're lining up private financing. They've found it. It says the meeting with the financier went well. And then April 17th, they say preliminary terms have been agreed upon by the overseas energy company. So this is really starting to get real. This is starting to get big. People are starting to get really excited about WDRP. Today was the first day it really blasted off and broke through those resistances. But with so much ahead for this company, right, we have a ton of pending catalysts now, several acquisition candidates being targeted, this major joint venture with Vietnam Energy Company, and what sounds like they might acquire some equity in it as well. And then just an hour ago, you can see just tonight, they tweeted again, getting ready to meet with energy company in Vietnam in a few hours to go over the supporting documents required for funding. Aside from the energy company, we're also in discussion with a clean tech company about a possible business combination. Stay tuned for more updates. So now we have something massive. Now we have something to get really, really excited about. Not only are we getting this deal with the energy company in Vietnam that does $100 million in revenue and private funding, but we're also getting a clean tech either acquisition or business combination, they say. So we'll see the details of that deal soon enough. But it's very, very exciting deals happening for WDRP. And again, they've done all this without a single share diluted, which is extremely impressive. So now it's a really, really exciting play. And it's also a fantastic setup, which we'll take a look at in a moment. But I do just want to show you that they did PR as well in January, recent growth initiatives, and it mentions in here AZ Desert, which is their oil and gas acquisition that they did, is also actively working to secure an investment to expand production. Once the transaction is finalized, the investor intends to invest up to $35 million over a 6-month period. So on top of the Vietnam $100 million revenue energy company and the clean tech company and other acquisitions that are coming and private financing for the energy side, we also have $35 million investment going into the oil and gas side. So now things look extremely promising for WDRP. And here is just a little look at the COO that they brought on as well. 19 years of experience in the oil and gas industry, served in the Navy, commercial driver, rope access technician, inspecting offshore platforms. Okay, works for Pioneer Natural Resources, EOG, Chevron, etc. So very much an established name in the energy sector that has joined WDRP to help with these energy acquisitions. So let's now take a look at the chart, because this is where things get really, really fun. This is where we have an excellent trade setup. And frankly, you could even, if these deals come to fruition, you could try long-term investing in this bad boy as well, because there hasn't been any dilution. It's a great share structure, etc. These are decisions you have to make as a person. I'm just presenting the information and what I like about the company. So we had a huge volume spike today, but Let's take a look at the actual levels on the chart. We've broken through all of these lower levels here that I drew lines on. So all of the lower levels have been absolutely smashed. And most importantly, we closed above the 200-day moving average, which is really, really significant. And we closed well above this downtrend line that goes all the way back to 2018. So if you draw this line from the very top of the chart at 2018, all the way down all these years, you can see it always rejects right at this downtrend line. This is the first time in 6 years that the stock has broken its downtrend, which is extremely significant from a technical standpoint. It's both broken a 6-year downtrend and has closed above the 200-day moving average. This signifies an absolutely massive reversal possibility here for this stock. From a technical standpoint, it's set up to do a really, really big run, I believe. Because if we look back to previous high, right, from 6 years ago, it hit almost 3 cents. It's now 1/10 of that, essentially, in price. And from a technical perspective, it's the first time in 6 years where we have this completely wide open chart where it could very much possibly retest those previous highs. Okay? So from a chart perspective, it's really unique. From a share structure perspective, it's really unique in good ways. And from what they're doing with, Vietnamese energy acquisitions and clean tech, it's unique in their business model as well. So I'm very, very excited for WDRP. I think this has a long way to go from here. And obviously the volume is quite telling that there were quite a lot of buyers in the market for it today. So always do your own research. And I'm glad you guys enjoyed the videos, and I'll see you next time.